Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined on this Monday, Eclipse Day in the United States, by Sean Newsham, PSU2, who is in the, what do they call it when you're like in the perfect
line
spot?
of totality.
You're in the line of totality, Sean.
Just feels like I'm getting like nuked off the planet today, right? I'm in the line of totality. Like, it just feels like I'm getting like incinerated today.
Yeah, there's going to be a giant. Well, what's funny is I feel like you're like, oh, there's going to be this giant laser that just like burns everything in this line of totality with you're in it. But actually, maybe everything else is getting lasered and you're safe.
Maybe that would be solid. I mean, that would be solid. I mean, literally, hotel rooms here are going for $1,000 a night with a 2-night minimum. They're usually like $100, and everything's closed. Like,
and everything's sold out. Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to have a workout today at the gym, and it was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, it's supposed to just be a disaster. So,
amazing.
But
just
yeah,
amazing.
I'm looking forward to going in. And luckily, it's supposed to be like 60 degrees. So for like the second time this year, I can actually like go stand outside for 5 minutes without wanting to like go run into somewhere and like get warm because
it's get warm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big day. Big day. Anyway, thank you to everybody for coming in. Bob Franklin, Kev Hurd, and Toby on the podium. Congratulations. Toby, am I alone in not hating this? You're not alone. But there are also not a lot of people who are with you. Anyway, speaking of the Continental Nights competition, Ben Johnson, the only thing that bothers me is the stacking penalty. I have a Flamingo and Gremio stack, and they both have L15 below 40 guys, but the stacking limit kills me. That's why we have multi-entry, though. Don't worry. Don't worry. Toby said, well, you can stack them any other time. I don't really see the issue with that. One thing I will say, I really hope they mix up the restrictions in the future. We'll get into that. Ben says, I love the competition. I split my teams into a Flamingo goal. All right. Yeah. Anyway. Cyber Shakes, what's up? Philly Dilly. Continental Nights is a great way to sell garbage cards you still haven't cleaned out of your gallery yet. Better get moving. Shout out Fernando Gorriaran. Sorare Jujo, what's up? Mike Bastin. Kiralumo, hi from Uganda. Hello.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I saw that.
That might be a first. That might be a first time. That is certainly a first time from Uganda. So thank you very much for coming in. David Marshall, 4 p.m. show, the perfect way to see me through the last hour of work. You know, we're just trying to help here. Liam, what's up? Glenn, Surfula, I thought this was the first cool special ever personally. And of course, Mr. South America is going to feel like this is a great one. Sora Holland, what's up? Pico player, stars will be stars into 2-time stars max and need an L15 to 40. We'll get there. Adriano, what's up? Surf, having the standard comps done enough to make stars though? No. Maybe. Carrie, what's up? Scosmo, FC Soul, Stefan, appreciate everyone coming in. Pico said, it's just counter the idea they had. Wouldn't that be hard to open Champ Europe midweek? No, you can't do it. No domestic matches. Rules are rules. Sean, you look like a B. I assume that's a Dortmund jersey.
It is. It is a Pulisic Dortmund jersey.
Yeah. Who's on the back?
Pulisic.
Yeah, my man. Toby says, Sorare users, tier 3 and below are useless now. Also, Sorare users, fuck these restrictions. What happened to stars will be stars. Easy, guys. Surfula, they literally said that specials would be how they provided utility to lower tier cards. Pico says you can provide utility while not killing stars. Sean, I think the chat's just going to take care of this show for us.
Yeah.
Sir Josh, the people upset about this comp are the ones who can't be arsed to put in the time to go out of their comfort zones and go away from their boring Liverpool stacks. That is a hot take, Sir Josh. So prioritize this special or go against the grain and go with Cap and All-Star instead. We'll get into that. David Alves, what's up? Servila says, I don't just like it out of personal interest, by the way, which I think is a gigantic lie. But you're just lying to yourself, Surf, not necessarily to us. Chris Holt said, at least Pranksy won't win this tournament, which is funny to think that. David Alves already looking into the weekend. And Mike Bassins thought you were wearing a Hull City shirt, which wouldn't make any sense. Philly Dilly, I can't play this, but I think it's fine. Not true. You can play it. You may not have the cards yet.
You have to buy more cards, baby.
You can play it. So, Sean, what do you think about the Continent? Sorry, before I even ask you that, I was trying to come up with a catchy name for this show. Came up with nothing good. And Sean was like, Continental Nightmare, you moron. And I'm like, yes, you are absolutely right. So, Sean, thank you for the title. The floor is yours.
As typical, it takes me 20 seconds and I
Saving the day.
Get the fire, and Laird's just like, yep, that's it. And, so we're going to take this slow today because First off, I'm going to have an overall comment. And we're going to see where you align on this overall comment.
Okay.
I hate people so much. And like,
That's
like, look, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get further into this. I just wanted to give out the preface of this to begin with. I just like, we don't need to bitch incessantly about every little thing that they do. And it's just like everyone is so vocal about everything and so negative about everything. And I'm fine with being negative, and we're going to say some negative things today probably, and we're going to say some positive things, and typically we keep it more even balanced than other people. I mean sometimes we are more negative than when positive, and that's warranted. But like, man, I see like I had Haber tweeting, and Haber was not the only one. There's many that's tweeting, talking about how stupid Continental Nights is. And again, we're going to get into the actual competition. Then I got Tuggy being like, hey, come get your son. Let's look at how big of a moron he is. And then he spouts off some dumb shit. Then Haber's like, come get your boy Tuggy. Look at this dumb shit he's posting. I'm like, what do you want me to say? You're both morons? Because you're both morons. Like it's just like, everything doesn't need to be the end of the world, right? Like it can just be like, hey, this sucks, whatever. Or hey, this is cool, whatever. Or it just doesn't need to be that. What's your thoughts on that overall? Like I just like, we're going to give our actual opinions on the Continental Nights after this. And so I don't know how many people in here know like what our views on it are, which is actually the same. Like I think you and I had the same view, most in line that I saw with anybody else. But also at the same time, it's just like, it doesn't need to be the end of the world. It doesn't need to be like, oh my God, people are bitching, that's the end of the world. Like it just can be something. So what's your thoughts on the overall view of like everything being the end of the world?
I feel like I tend to stay on the side of it's not the end of the world.
You do, but I'm saying like in general, in terms of like, there's the people that it's like politics where it's like you're on this side or you're on this side.
Yeah.
It's like both of you are likely morons. It's probably in the middle.
I think that's a phenomenal analogy, actually.
Yeah.
I think the problem actually that people are I hate to say that it's like a problem in how people are reacting, because you don't have like you can come up with a nuanced way of responding to something, but like how you feel about something is just like how you feel about it.
Yeah.
And people, I think, are looking at this competition, which is the first one after the new gameplay, and it's like the transition, whatever. But the idea was like, we're going to make special weeklies really fun, and you're going to love them, and the prizes are going to be great, and they're going to be different, and we're going to do all this stuff. And they put out the first one, and everyone's like, this is what we get from now on. This is horrible. And it's like, it's the first one. And I think I have almost a dual opinion on this one. And I think it's a really good competition. I just think it's really bad timing for it.
Yes.
And it is what it is. It's not like all of us complaining about it is going to change this competition. But the reason I wanted to discuss this today is because I think people at Sorare listen to us and what we bring up in the chat, and that whether they do anything about what they hear is different. But I think it's important that they understand why it's not great right now. Because you and I were both like, yeah, this is kind of dumb, but it's a cool competition and would work really well in like September.
Yes. Or on the weekend.
Well, you're not going to do a Continental on the
weekend.
No,
but like the idea of like behind, and this, and I'm not picking on this person at all, but it's in the chat. And DDJ said it isn't horrible. I'm going hard in it. It's fun. It's a great competition. The rewards are great, but again, like it doesn't need to be on like, this is great, this is awesome. It can be like, yeah, that's fine. There's issues with it. So now we're going to get into the actual competition. And let me also clarify this before we get into further discussion. I would say I am helped with this competition more than most anybody because of some of the cards I have. I don't know if you've
I mean,
seen.
yeah, it seems like you have every card. So yes,
Oh,
I'm
I have a
sure
lot
it's
of cards, but like I'll give an example of Bellama was like crushed by this because he literally will not buy shitty cards. So like,
so I think that's a reasonable response.
yes,
That the way the new gameplay set up, it was like, hey, all of those cards that everybody was buying for Cap 240, like they're not really that important anymore. We have this new gameplay where you're going to want the best cards, and like we'll come up with competitions where the bad ones are still okay, and like this is the first one. And I think that the fear that comes out of this competition is for this game week, they're like, oh, just go play All-Star.
yeah,
But like when All-Star goes away, that's the fear that
that
people have.
was a big takeaway I had. So like I'm going to start with this competition, then we're going to go into the whole week as a whole.
Yeah.
After reading everything about this competition, how long did it take you to be like, this is really stupid from a like, this should not be being ran right now perspective?
Seconds.
Took me seconds. I read this and I'm like, what the hell are you doing running this in this situation? So I further looked at things and this wasn't shocking. So of the 8 Champions League teams, Laird, this week, and this is probably why they did it, but again, this is like from a sorare perspective, this is like where a lot of frustration comes from, because this is just something that like this should be presented and it should take 0 seconds to be like, this is a good idea, wrong time. Instead, it gets implemented, and you're like this. It isn't hard to not implement this. This was very obviously not what you should do. So, of the 8 Champions League teams, how many of those players that are realistically likely to start do you think meet the L4 or the under 40 criteria? Of 88
It's like 4.
players, under, it's 3. And of those 3, I'm not sure if they will start. But they possibly start. And those 3 are Jose Maria Jimenez for Atletico Madrid, Nahil Molina for Atletico Madrid, and Randall Mulani for PSG.
Is Tomori suspended? Oh, he's not in Champions League. Sorry.
He's not
Yeah,
I'm just giving Champions League teams. So here's the issue. And again, I might be missing someone. So like maybe and like of those guys, like they might not start also. So someone just said Pico player said Murata starts. So like Murata starts and is expected to start. I think he is because I think Depay picked up an injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like there's another one. There's 4. But so here's the issue. The whole theme of sorare currently and what they've said that they're going towards is stars will be stars. We are going to make the marquee players and the best teams in the biggest spots be the most valuable players. Then they bring out this competition. I have a star, Laird, that I think is probably the best card you can probably have for this competition. Maybe he won't be, maybe he'll suck, but like looking at things quickly, it's probably like the best card. You know who that person is?
No.
Augustine Marchesson.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what team he's on?
Gremio?
Yeah, okay, there you go. But like, that's not the definition of stars will be stars. They basically neutered the Champions League harder than it's ever been neutered ever on the platform, because not even like they're not really those type of players to play, but like Jude Bellingham against Man City is way worse than someone on Flamengo as a 4-goal favorite in Brazil in the Libertadores. So that's where the main issue was, is like you basically come out and you say these are going to be the cards you want. And again, I have absolutely no issue with them doing a competition like this. They could have done this competition, period. They could have just done this competition in this midweek and it still could have been great. But you know what you could have done also? You could have had a separate like Champions League only competition. And you could have had something that still prioritized the Champions League. Like literally, like if you ask the 5 best cards for this game week, period, 0 of them are in the Champions League. None of them are in the Champions League. I'm not exactly sure who they all are because I'm not going to go look at them all at this exact second. But like, I know I have Bruno Fuchs for Mineiro as like a 2-goal favorite. I know I have Marchesson as like a 3-goal favorite in net as a U40. So like the idea, and this special is great. This is the type of thing you need and you want, where like we are emphasizing these cards, and we are making the Champions League players and the Mbappes, the Bellinghams of the world, the marquee cards. Then you run a competition where it's like they're literally the biggest piles you could have this week, and that's what I think is frustrating. And a lot of people have bought a lot of those high level cards, and they like can't even make lineups. I know Chani talked about, he's like, I literally like can't even make a lineup without going buy another card. Which, like, again, that's fine that he's incentivized to go buy another card. But if you're like, go buy these high end players, then you're like, April Fools, don't go buy these players, buy these other turds. Like, I just think that there are specials that should happen, and then there are like regular type of things. And this midweek, like you talked about, I think the biggest key takeaway, and the reason why a lot of people are frustrated with this, if this was in 6 months, there's no all-star, there's no capped, there's like nowhere you can realistically play these players. Not even just that, but like there's games in Asia this week that if this competition is the only thing going on, that's it. Not to mention, like, also, like, are they going to run one weekly special in the fall where, like, I could have like 20 goalies going and I can only get 3 lineups at a certain scarcity? Like, are they going to only run one weekly special in the midweek and nothing else? Or are they going to run multiple week specials? And a lot of that is just like the uncertainty and what you've talked about. Like, you shouldn't call them weekly special or something. And you should actually have something stable that people know is coming in the midweek. So anyways, I know I talked a lot there. So, like, what's your thoughts on all of this stuff?
So there's basically 2 things I want to touch on, and a few people are bringing it up in the chat. I think that the way that Sorare has set things up, that we know that the big 5 leagues in Europe are the priority.
Yes.
And we know basically that the challenger group is after that and contenders is after that. And so Surfila was saying, if you run this in 6 months, the shoe will be on the other foot and it'll be the European qualifiers, and then Flamingo will be playing River in the semis. Yes. Like, that's prioritizing, like, that goes with what they're saying.
Correct.
But that's actually not what I want to like really focus on here. So Kev Hurd says stars will be stars was meant to apply for divisions though. Plus you can use plenty of stars in your 3 multi-entries for the continental comps. So the problem with that is you can only play your stars, your 3 stars in the continental competition if you also have 3 players that with an L, or 3 cards with L15s under 40. And I think the reason that everybody's like, no, midweeks were supposed to be for the low tier cards. So special weeklies were like the solution they gave us for the low tier cards that we owned. The point was not to then go out and buy them. Like, the special weekly is not for me to be like, oh, let me go buy bad cards for this game week.
That's how you get value though, is like you need to buy those cards. So like that's fine, but I understand what you're saying.
But like, I think everybody who is fine with it has the cards, and it's the people who don't have the cards are upset, which obviously is always going to be the case with these special weeklies.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't think this was really meant to be like, oh, go, like, you just spent the last 2 months buying your stars. Great. So now spend some time and buy these terrible players that you will use this game week and then take a 90% loss on next week.
Yeah. And that's part of the issue. So a couple people have mentioned in chat, Duje said, they said stars will be stars in new core competitions and the special weeklies will be a place for lower tier cards. The idea is that stars will be stars, not just in the weekend. It's that those are like the important cards, not that they're going to be good on the weekends and then on the midweeks they suck ass. Like, that's not the idea. Like, we want to be excited about that stuff. And that's part of the issue. And like you said, like, the idea is that stars will be stars, but like now you have not even what you just said where you need these shitty cards, but like also the stars aren't stars because they're playing against hard competition, whereas Flamengo is a 3-goal favorite in Libertadores. So those are the stars, not the Mbappes of the world. Charlie says that he gets the point, but it's not 6 months from now. The issue is, though, is like, hypothetically, they put this out there and everyone's like, this is fantastic. Then they're just like, yeah, we'll run this forever. This is our new competition. And so that's part of the issue. I think not having stabilized comps in the midweek is probably a mistake. And maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do that come the fall. Maybe it will be a Champs League only competition. Then it'll be like a Europa and Europa Conference League only competition. Then it will be a like everything, or maybe it'll be like a rest of the world. Like who knows? But like another, like I said, another issue is like if you don't have gas, which we're getting rid of gas, where are these cards that have random sporadic games count going? Well, like the Japanese League and the K League, and not even just them, but like the championship. The championship plays a lot during these midweeks. What's going to happen with those cards in midweek? Are they just going to be like, you can use them nowhere? Like that's not ideal. So, and then Charlie brings up another point, which I have a big question about, and this is a side thing, is another issue. The prize pool is a global one, MLS players in the pool. Why? I was under the impression that they were only rewarding cards of teams that had played in that game. Were you not under that impression? Because that was what I had taken from them saying that.
So I was under that impression, but I also never found it in the blog. And so I feel like it was something that somebody from Sorare said in Discord somewhere, and that's what got shared. And so I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah. So that was confusing to me because like last week I prioritized like champion over Premier League because it made more sense from, and then I won like a Bundesliga player. I'm like, I thought I could literally only win Premier League guys or that one game in Spain. I was super confused. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So Scosma says, isn't this a good way of tagging utility on low end cards, increasing the demand to add on stars, but also needing stars to utilize the low end? Yes, and that's the idea of like the actual contest makes sense, and the actual contest is fine. And the rewards, like I think they did a bang on job on the rewards. There's likely not going to be tons and tons of lineup. They're giving boxes to loads of people. Not just that, the boxes are like 3 or 4x as good as what they are on the weekend. So like prize pool wise, hey, great, much better than what you would get normally. The issue is like you are chopping off a lot of other things with this competition that are issues. And then so Sober Josh says Sober can't win if we don't have these requirements. No one will buy them. Again, like they can win by having these type of contests and having these type of competitions while also not devaluing the cards that they're talking about making important, and also like keeping more stabilized competitions. People do not like the idea of like I have nowhere to use my good cards because I just can't use them because I have to use so many other cards that don't fit within that sort of range.
So on that point, KB said, let's talk about how we're not forced to play every single comp ever. Like if you hate the idea of buying a bad card just for one competition, don't play it. Isn't that so rare 101? It is. But again, the concern is if you have elite cards that are playing this midweek and you don't have one bad card, if All-Star is gone, where do you play it? And if the idea is like, oh, we'll have All-Star, that like, oh, we'll have another special weekly with All-Star and it'll be there. But it's like they're actually devaluing stars in this midweek.
They've never been worth less than they are this week.
Right.
Ever. Never, ever on the platform have they been worth less.
Paolo saying people should have just scouted 2 weeks ago, which is fair. Scosmo said they said they'll be bringing All-Star back as special weekly during midweeks.
And that would be like if you have
if we see it, we're fine. Yeah.
Honestly, like I think having gas as a special weekly like every midweek is a great idea because then you always will have somewhere to use your cards, right?
Surface saying the MLS guys are there because of Champions League or CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Yes,
excuse me.
Correct. That is true.
Sorry, I'm just.
Yeah, I'm trying to chat's going.
Oh, Rikamon said it was in the original Q&A that they said only cards from teams playing. I don't even know how to find that. Let me go back 17 blog posts and then.
Yeah, they've changed them so much. Ben saying he's not 100% Marchison starts. I have no idea. He might. I haven't done lineup yet or looked at it, but I mean, he started the last Libertadores game. I would assume he starts here, but who knows? Maybe he got injured. I have no idea. I lost so many goalies this weekend to injuries or like red cards or anything. All right, I'm scrolling through.
Yeah, sorry. Surf said, just let us non-champ EU owning guys have one nice thing.
No, and that's the thing is like you could have. Like I have no problem with us running this type of comp, but also run the normalized comp, right? Like
What normalized comp?
Like a normalized comp where you can play your best players and the Champions League guys are the
Well, that's
Champions
All-Star.
League guy.
Like I think the argument is like All-Star is there. You can play your 5 best players in All-Star this week.
You can. Yes.
The problem is if you have 10,
correct.
You can't.
Correct. So Tuggy said something stupid also. He's like, I don't like people saying that these cards aren't like, you can't play your good cards. You can play 6 of them when you used to only be able to play 5. Well, no, like I had Global All-Star. I had Cap 270. I had Challenger Europe. I had U23. I had America Rare Pro. I had loads of plays to do it. But then he uses the ability to play down in scarcity. I don't want to sit there and be playing my Jude Bellingham super rare in a limited like all-star lineup. Like that's just not interesting to me. So I just like, that's just not the way that people are going to want those type of cards. And it just, I think a lot of the frustration too, right? I think a lot of the frustration people has is it's just like a continued lack of consistency and what people deem as like mistakes and the team just not really understanding things, right? That I think a lot of it boils because it just keeps going and it, like you see something else and then you're like, oh, this is stupid. Then you see something else and then you're like, this is stupid. Then you see something else and you're like, how many times am I going to see something stupid that it just like keeps frustrating you, and then you just that's what leads to the constant like, oh my god, it's the end of the world. It's not that one thing; it's like a constant buildup over time.
Sorry, I was trying to load the FAQ and it's like literally not even loading for me. I think people are taking us being critical of this, saying that like they shouldn't run this. Like Sean and I both think that this is a very good competition.
Yes.
But it's just weird to put it out now when it's almost like the priorities are flipped to what we have been playing. And maybe that's part of the gameplay. That it's like, oh wait, actually this is the week that your champ guys are just not great.
Yeah.
And that's
Kev Hurd just said you are both saying that you can't play any stars in Continental. You can't play 5 stars together, which is pissing people off. Champ Europe is dead, and we've known that for some time. But the idea of like Champ Europe being dead or like these other things being dead, you still expected to have a normalized competition where if you had like 4 or 5 really strong players, you could play them all together. And if you had an Arsenal stack, you could play the Arsenal stack together. Not, okay, you got to break it up 3 different ways. They also suck because you have Brazil. You also have to bring in these piles of poop to play with them. Like, it's a very confusing situation. Are you finding something in the FAQ that's confusing based on your?
I was trying to load it and it's disappearing on me.
And it's Mike Basson brings up, are we not overreacting to this first attempt at a new style special?
Yes,
it's a transitional period, so attempting to find what works. 100% everybody's overreacting on all sides of things. And that was like a lot of the opinion Laird and I had, was that everywhere I looked, people were just like losing their minds over this 1 week thing. So Bellama is affected more negatively than most anybody on the platform. He's like, I think it's good. He's like, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm fine losing the utility. But I said, I'm like, Bellama, the issue is like when I go into Discord and I'm in like 5 Discords and 100% of people in these Discords are unhappy about this, that's not great. And that's the thing, is it's like, that's where the yes, and Scosmo says Bellama loves everything. Yes.
I was going to say, I don't think I cannot picture what Sorare could do that Bellama would be like, I'm worried now.
There was something the other day that he was like, I think that's dumb. I forget what it was, but he was like, I think that's dumb.
I don't believe it. Literally don't believe it.
Yeah. So like it's a situation where like I think it's important to be like, hey, this sucks at this time. Good idea, but just use it better. It is important. But I also think it's important to not be like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is the end of the world. I'm selling my gallery. This ruins all of my players, yada yada. Like, I think that's extreme. But we've seen them do stuff where it's like they just ruin all your players, and that happens. So I think that's part of where it comes from, is that's difficult to figure out.
Yeah, no, I think it's more I think the loudest participants are those who took stars will be stars and bought all their stars and now are being told you need to buy bad cards to play your stars.
Yeah. But
That's
part
all.
of the issue is, right, they're told, like, go buy good cards. Those are the cards you want to get. And then it's like, nope, just kidding. Go buy these now too. And then like you're gonna buy these and then be like, no, yeah, nope. And then now you don't want those.
And it's like the prize pool this midweek is better than anything we've seen previous, like in weekends. So it's kind of like a double whammy. That's like, oh, buy your best cards, but save your really bad ones for the better rewards.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's like, I think this competition is perfectly fine. I really do. I'm not buying cards for it though, because I don't do that now.
Yeah, no, Jonathan, I bought like one card for a lineup in a long time, and that was Kiwior during international break, because I was like, there's no way I cannot pay this off. And I was able to pay it off with what I won, because it was a spot where it's just like there was no way I wasn't going to get like a card worth valued more than that based on how things went. So Surf brought up earlier, I think, about not running it on the weekend because there's more like elf U40 guys that they can play. There's more cheat code cards. Yeah, but the issue is like now in this midweek there's like none. There's like very few guys that you can actually play. Which
the number of cards that you could buy for this game week that you would want after this game week is minuscule.
Yes.
And so like that's the problem I have a little bit. Because it's like you're scouting, you're doing the best you can to find. Had somebody just said it in chat? Is it a good card on a bad run of form, or a good card? Hold on. Is it a good card on a bad run of form, a good card or a bad card? And it's like the idea is for these competitions, you want to buy a card that you're like, oh, this guy is actually better than his scores have been.
Yeah.
And when I'll win this game week, and then I'll be able to have this card, but it feels, and I don't know every card on this in this competition with an L15 under 40, but it feels like none of them are cards you want after this.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's just like, I just think it was a frustrating decision. And again, like the competition is a really good competition. I like the idea behind it. I like the idea of it getting really good rewards. Like special weeklies getting really strong rewards is needed, because that is how you value lower tier cards and how you value stuff like that.
But it's also how we valued stars. Like we wanted players that played in the Champions League because you got midweek utility and you got more rewards from that. And now those players are neutered. And like, you will never convince me that they are not in this competition.
Oh yeah, there's no shot you can convince me that they're not. And that's why like Tuggy's been arguing like up and down that they're not. And I'm just like
we're not saying you can't play them, but like there are going to be ones that you will play in less optimal spots than you would have.
Correct.
And you went out of your way to buy them because of what we were told.
Correct. You don't even want your guys in this competition. Like you would rather you guys not be in the Champions League right now, because then they'll play on the weekends without worry of being rotated out. And you don't have to play them in lineups that are like meh because they're playing in the Champions League. Also, so Chris Holt brings okay, go ahead.
Rub was saying, if you have all these stars and need to buy one Tamori or one Murata for peanuts to be able to file a lineup, is that such a big deal? Probably the 40 limit is unfortunate this time, but the principle is okay. We agree. Like the principle is fine, but also Tamori and Murata are not peanuts anymore. Like that's the point, is that those cards that you probably don't want after this, maybe Tamori, you're paying more for just to get in this one competition.
I mean, they're still peanuts, but like it's just the idea of like I don't know what to do. And so Chris Holt brings up a good point. How hard is it to have a roadmap of the special weeklies for the next couple of months? I don't understand. I've never really understood this. Like, why can't we just have like a month out? Like we did at one point. Like, we had a month out like at all times, but like a running month out. Like I want to know like what this stuff is going to be a month out so that you know what's coming up. And it's just like that part is difficult. So KB is talking about like Molina being $2. The issue is you don't really win limiteds worth more than $2 a lot of the time. Most limiteds are worth like $2. Like if you look at Tamori's rare is, let's see, Tamori's rare is like $100. So like to buy a Tamori rare, you're spending $100. And like I don't care. I think that's fine. Like I have no problem with you having to buy a Tamori rare for $100. That's great. You buying those cards is great.
Where it's not great though is if you have like a South American gallery and you buy a Champion Europe player, and now you get to the weekend and you're like, oh, I don't have.
Yeah. That's like another thing too. Is like I think that will neuter people from buying those type of cards in the future, because you're just going to be like, well, Surf has his all Argentina lineup, and then it's like this midweek comes up, it's like I don't want to buy Tomori because I literally can never use it again because I only have these cards.
Yeah, Ben said we used to have those horrific graphics of the next month's competitions. It was very useful. Yeah, was it a full month ahead? I don't remember.
I think they did it like a month, and then they did like the next month, and then they did the next month. But so at the end, like it was stale because like you didn't know what was going to be up like next week because they didn't post it, but then you had the month after that.
And I thought they were supposed to give us 2 weeks for any special weeklies.
Yeah, probably. But like, so what's the special weekly? What was the special weekly last week, right?
Last week's gone.
What's next week's special weekly?
It didn't happen.
Yep. So that's where I think Hatlingen's talking about Earl Edwards. I don't know if Earl Edwards starts. Speaking of guys who I don't know if they start, I think they're just going to play Rovis now, even though they're going to rotate their team. But even if they don't, like, I mean, it's going to be a dumpster spot. New England's going to just totally roll over. Like, I doubt Carlos Gil even flew. I'd be surprised if Gil even flew to the game. So, like, I'm just not sure Earl's going to start, because I just think they're just going to go back to Rovis because they gave Earl a couple games, which was also dumb as shit. And
yeah,
Earl
he's really bad.
It was terrible.
Surfer's right. Libertadores guys got screwed last week. Ian, I'm saying, I know they gave 2 weeks for this one, but like,
yeah,
what next?
Rigo Man said, I assume next week is the same, but why? Because we don't know. They might not do anything next week.
I was oh, it isn't it? Yeah, they do play next week.
Yeah, who knows what they're going to do next week? Maybe they're going to try something different. Maybe next week they're going to have something that is more like a normalized competition. But we don't know.
I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure next week is less than 2 weeks from now.
Yes, that does math.
Does it seem right to you?
The math there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson just said champion, challenger, and contenders are open next midweek, but I can't play those cards in those competitions. So does that mean I only can play them in gas? Because if that's the case, I can only play Champions League cards in gas. Like, that's terrible compared to like what it used to be, right?
What is that? 468?
That sounds.
Why are those open?
I'm assuming someone randomly has games. They probably have makeup games or something.
I don't think Champions is open. Champions is not open.
468.
Challengers has.
Southampton plays.
Are we sure they're open for next midweek?
Yeah, Southampton plays and Sporting plays.
Neither of them are licensed teams. There's 0 licensed teams. Oh, Palmeiras. There's 1.
Zagreb plays. Marinos plays. No, that's
contenders.
League. That's Asian Champions League. No, it's Asian Champions League. So like, where am I going to be able to play those? I think maybe Brazil plays, but like not in.
Like I'm here. I'm looking right here. This is the matchups tab for game week 468, which is next midweek. Like we have Palmeiras.
I mean, I think more of those teams might be covered than you think.
I don't think so.
I mean, one of them, because there's like
whatever it is, it's not 10 teams. Is it 10 teams or 10 games?
It's 10 teams.
Yeah.
There's
no way we have 10.
Ben's looking at 470, not 480. He trolled us.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Dasson, imagine the uproar if Asian Champions League gets included. It should 100% be included. And it will. Like, it's good. If they ran Continental Nights this week, it would be included. I was
going to say, I don't know what the argument would be to not include it.
Yeah, like 100% it's going to be included. Like, there's no way it wouldn't be included if they ran a Continental Nights, which I don't know if they're going to run a Continental Nights. Because I don't know. Did they give us 2 weeks on this one too, or did they just announce it last weekend?
No, it was like
I don't think it was that long ago, Laird. Just for what it's worth.
The actual blog was
I'd be shocked if it was 2 weeks.
April 3rd, 5 days ago.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, it was last mid. Oh, yeah, 1 week.
Yeah. Do I need to give you the math lesson, Larry? Yes, we know nothing about the Continental Nights before 1 week ahead of time. Because it was announced the 3rd for the game week starting the 9th. So it was less than a week.
Yeah.
So
Whatever.
But
there was a time change and the eclipse.
But Rico Man said it was announced on the 1 13 days ago.
Oh, okay. Maybe the rules came out on the 3rd.
Yeah, definitely not important, the rules. Definitely don't need those.
Hold on, I'm on the blog. Let's see.
I mean, I can't keep track of all these dumbass blogs. There's so much.
Oh, hold on. No, that's March 7th. They first mentioned it on March 26th. All right. It was on the Sorare Pro. I mean, hold on. Which one? This one? That's March 7th. So it's got to be.
It's got to be that one. Yeah.
Here we go.
Just search, Laird.
Continental?
Yep.
There it is.
There you go.
Here are the details.
Oh, no. Okay, scroll up. They just said something about the 2nd through the 5th. Scroll up. Just scroll up a little bit. What did they say about 2nd to 5th?
That was what all core competitions will be open. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. So they gave us plenty of time. Yeah. All good, Sean.
Well, that means we have nothing next midweek. So is there nothing to literally nothing next week? You have gas. You can play one lineup next week. Right?
Cap 70.
Oh, sorry, the Caps.
220.
That's it though. Like that's
U23.
That's it though. Like that's
as of now.
As of now. But I mean, they were supposed to give us 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Waz just said so. Nothing for the Champions League second legs next week at the moment. As of now, no.
It's not just Champions League.
Yeah.
Europa Conference.
Yep. Gas one lineup, cap modes, and then U23. That's it.
But CONCACAF is over, right? This is the second leg this week.
Yeah, this is the second leg.
And same with Copa
and Libertadores is group stage, but I don't think they play next week.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they play next week.
Yeah, I think it's just like Europe next week.
Right. So yeah, so it's just those. So yeah, there's no way they'll have a continental, whatever the hell they'd call it.
Yeah.
It's the following one, the 23rd. Copa comes back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ryan, what happens when all-star and caps are gone next season? We don't know.
We don't know. But it's definitely, I think it makes a lot of sense that I think they're going to try some shit. And then I think that whatever they try that they like the best, they're going to run next year.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
But like they're going to just like run it over and over again or something like that. Maybe. But again, who knows?
I really don't see how they get away with not having an all-star.
I've always said that. I don't understand how they're not.
You can call it a special weekly all you want, but
yeah, you can call it a special weekly all-star competition. But I don't see how you don't have all-star open at all times on midweeks, because otherwise you're just gonna have so many teams that just can't play.
Right.
Like, which just doesn't
like literally next week with these Champions League games, or all the Europa or UEFA ones.
So like next week, do we literally only have all-star open, and that's in like those in the cap modes? Like, is that it? Because that is unfortunate.
I assume we can't actually click through
468. I'm going to the lineup builder, seeing what's in there. Lineup builder lineup builder I think just has stuff open for now.
Yeah, there's nothing for beyond next weekend, like on Sorare's website.
Yeah.
Halogen said playing in Europe is actually such a huge downside in Sorare. Like, cool, my cards have City away and rotate the entire team for Mallorca at the weekend.
Right now, I agree. Like right now, you'd much rather not have your guys in Champs League based on this weekly special, because like I would much rather have my guys full force on the weekend going instead of like having. I don't give a shit about Real Madrid players against Man City unless there was a competition where it was like only the 8 Champions League teams, then I would care. But there's not. So now I'm just like, okay, Jude's like, fine. Like, he's nothing special. He's like a guy. And I'd much rather him play on the weekend against Mallorca at home, where they're like a 3-goal favorite, because I will get much better scores on average in that game than I will in the other one.
DJ said Brazil plays in 468, so Challenger should be open. We don't even have enough licensed Brazilian teams to open it.
How many Brazilian teams do we have? I can't
looking.
keep track of all this shit.
Yeah, I was just looking. We have 4. America, Fortaleza, Corinthians, and Palmeiras.
So they all play. We have no champion. We don't have the championship teams. Like, Southampton isn't minted.
We the only one in England, or the only ones are Coventry. I'm looking now. Hold on. Norwich, Watford.
Yeah, I don't think any of them play. I think this is
Millwall. Excuse me. Sorry.
I think this
Apologies
is
to all the Millwall guys.
I think this is like the replay of the game that got like canceled because there was a fire across the street.
Oh, the Southampton one?
I think that's what this one is. Yeah.
Surf said next midweek is the first round of the playoffs in Argentina too.
Yeah, you definitely don't have enough Argentinian teams.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Zagreb plays. I think that's a league game. And they have the whole Croatian league?
Yeah.
So they have 2. Well, here's another issue, right, though. If the Argentinian league plays, and they do have 10 teams, but only because the Argentinian league plays, they probably don't know that the playoffs are happening, and they definitely don't have those games scheduled, so they definitely have not factored that in. And you know that's true. You know that's true.
Yeah, but once they pop in, it'll be fine.
But anyways, there's not, because it's the only other game in that region is the Zagreb game.
We've got some Peru, it looks like. Maybe.
Oh.
Do we even have licensed Peru?
Okay, yeah, I guess if Libertadores is, yeah, I guess there's other random ass teams that could be there.
2 Peru, neither of which play.
Scott Warren says that you can only win who's playing. We have already debunked that. I took that one for the team.
We've not debunked it. We may have just found a bug.
So wait, we think that it shouldn't have been that way, and we don't.
I'm just saying we don't know.
I emailed support, and after 4 days, got a response that said, "I'm sorry you were confused about your rewards."
Toby's right here. There is some Norway next midweek, but they don't. There's only one Norwegian team licensed. Mickey said, if there's anything we've learned the past couple of years, it's how Sorare loves rapid prototyping, just doing things on the fly, and how infuriating that is for users. I don't think. I mean, this Continental competition is hardly a prototyping.
No,
well, I guess it's literal prototyping, but it's not on the fly. That's what I meant.
No, they clearly thought it out and just like.
Yeah.
Again, just confusing because like users that play the game and understand the game understand why it does not make that much sense at this time.
So GWOMS brings this up, going back to the Continental thing, the competition specifically, said, but why didn't they just have a sub 45 instead of sub 40? Opens up so many players. And you and I were talking about this in some Discord about how the old specialist was 2 players, 40 and under.
Yeah.
Did we decide it was 1 or 2 over 55 too?
It was 1 over 60.
So 60, right?
60 plus, and then 2 under 40.
Right. So like if they had done the 1 over 60, the competition becomes so much easier. But like the number of goalies that are playing that are between 55 or are 55 and above, really just makes it so much harder.
At the super level, I can tell you because I already looked at it a little bit earlier today. So at the super rare level, I have, let's see, 5 goalies that might play. No, I have 4. Well, Earl's 5. Earl might play. So whoever I was talking to earlier that I said Earl might not play, he might also play. Like it could happen, it could not happen. But the 3 goalies I have that are like Champ Europe guys that are going to play are Ray at a 56, Lunin at a 58, Coble at a 65. All 3 of which are going to take up a over 55 spot.
Right. I have that problem. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so I have 2 versions of Armani, who's at 60.
Yeah.
and Carlos Lampe, who's at 55. And it's like, yeah, those are not the places I want to have to use a.
Yeah, like I don't want to be using a goalie as my, which again, that's why like Marchison is. Yeah, Hadlingen said there's no predicting this Revs line. Yeah, all I know is that like the Revs are going to mail this game in. Like they're going to mail this game in. They're
Where is it again?
What?
Where is it again?
Azteca.
Oh, right.
Yeah, down 4-0 Laird.
Right.
Yeah. Basically, like Porter.
There's no reason he should.
Carlos I would be surprised if Carlos Gil is in Mexico this week, despite having a game. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
I would be pretty surprised if he's on the plane. I'd be pretty surprised if Chonkalai's there. They might send Vrioni as just punishment for being a moron, but
if they don't post a video of the plane taking off and they pan over and they see Carlos Gil there over like this at Logan, then
like just out of like they were up, I think like 3-0 last time, and Carlos Gil did not travel. Carlos Gil is not going to this.
Yeah. No.
Porter basically came out and is like, yeah, so the priority is the league. We're going to prioritize the league now. And it's like, oh, sure as shit, hope so. So, like, if he plays anyone meaningful in that game, I would be shocked. But, like, yeah, like, Everson is a 55, so you can't play him. I have Cassio. Cassio's a massive favorite. I don't even know if he's going to start, but he's at 100% on Sober data right now. So I have Cassio. Donnaruma's a 63. Nick said Nacho Gil might be a star in the SPL. Nacho Gil has been okay this year.
Yeah, he has been.
He's not been terrible watching. Hradecki is a 53, but he's not going to start. Neuer's a 44, and Neuer should start. But, like, again, you're playing him against Arsenal. That's not great. Earl Edwards, though, 33. If he starts, he's ready to go.
Like, even the Palmeiras goalie's 55.
Yeah, like a lot of these goalies are 55 plus.
Yeah,
I like Skosmo saying that Fabianski's the play to split Leverkusen. Thing is, like one of these like lower tier goalies is gonna get a clean sheet, and they're gonna have enough AA that they're gonna be pretty solid. Nick said that he whines so much he's a hard watch in reference to Nacho. His brother definitely complains more. I will also say though, Carlos gets like the worst calls in the league. He gets a yellow for dissent like every other game because he's just getting abused and they don't call it. Part of the reason they don't call it though, I think, is because they literally despise him because he bitches so much.
I can see that. I think that happens in every sport, to be honest.
It does. But like Carlos Gil like gets hacked like repeatedly and they just don't call shit.
Yeah, so goalies are the stars.
Yeah, like Marchison is a star. Marchison is the star this week. Like,
Mignon is probably the top one, right?
If assuming he starts, the issue is like there's definitely some like who's going to start, who's not going to start. Like I have like two good examples of where guys. Games? What?
Does he not start the European games?
Who?
Mignon?
Oh no, Mignon will start.
Oh yeah, he's a 49.
He's not a U4 or he's not a U40. He's a U55. So like he's still in that mid.
Yeah, but I'm like even the U55. They're just not that like. This is the All-Star, so it includes like a few more from the competition, but like there are a lot that are over 50 that are 55 and over.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's not many.
Rossi's top one, I think.
Rossi's, I mean, assuming he starts, he's one of the better goalies. Like Ross, if Marchison starts, he's the best goalie of the week. Like in a pure vacuum, because he's a U40 and
for this competition.
Yeah, for this competition. So I had a couple like random cards that like are really good for this competition, none of which are champ cards, by the way. Like I have Aranya and Bruno Fuchs. They're pretty decent cards for this competition. I have a Aquino for Tigres, and they are playing against Columbus at home with no Aiden Morris, and he rested on the weekend for the game. So like a lot of the issue with the midweek here coming up is the uncertainty on if people are going to play. So like having a locked in 54 that is a pretty decent score in a pretty favorable matchup. I think Columbus is just a much worse team without Aiden Morris than they are when they have him. Because like so much of their team is just him and Nagy dominating the midfield. Rico Man finally found the line. What?
Who'd you say rested on the weekend?
Aquino for.
Oh, yeah. Tigres rested like everybody.
Yeah, they're coming to play for this game. So Rico Man finally found the line. The prize pool in competitions where not all teams are participating. The prize pool in such competitions is exclusively composed of players who have a game in that game week. Rico Man, can you either like DM me on Twitter or Discord like where that is exactly so I can go find it? Because I just am like, that's why I literally won a German card. And I'm just like, why am I winning a German card? This literally shouldn't have existed.
That was in Champions, though, right?
Yeah, but like they didn't play.
They didn't play. Yeah.
Their league didn't even play. Like no one even in their league played.
Yeah. This is a great update from Paolo. Arana just cut a finger on his hand in a barbecue, but should be okay. I love this game.
Okay, Rico Man says in the Q&A, so I'm gonna have to. Oh, the Q&A that won't open. Is that where we're finding it?
That's the way. Yeah, I couldn't open it. Nice. Ben said, "Does anyone know why the Juarez game that was last night is playing the last 20 minutes again right now? The lights went out and they couldn't get them back on.
Oh, so they're finishing. That seems kind of terrible for the players,
right?
Because that's not like a true. Yeah.
They got to get it in soon before this eclipse. It puts them back in the dark.
True eclipse in a couple hours.
Yeah. Toby said Rosenberg and Argentina auctions will be back on auction finally. They were just missing for a week. Yeah. So, Sean, are you going to multi-enter this? Do you have enough?
No, it's a great competition. It's much better than All-Star. I'm going to have 3 entries in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to max every one of them. Like I'm going to do that before I do any of my other lines. This midweek.
Who are your shitters?
What?
Who are your shitters?
Augustine Marchesson.
You have 3 of them?
No, I got a rare and a super rare though.
Let's go.
I mean, I can tell you my shitters. I already looked because I knew that you need to have the shitters. I got some. You're gonna love the guys that I'm gonna rattle off here. So I'm gonna give you the. I'm only gonna give you super rares because like that's what matters. So let me just. So Marchesson. Yep. I have Earl, but I don't know if I'll use Earl here because I don't know if he starts. So I probably will not use him here. Let's see. So shitter defenders, Jose Maria Jimenez at home against Dortmund. I expect he'll start, but I'm not positive. Calabria at home.
Oh, yeah, I saw he's on the list. Yeah.
Angelino Laird. He's had 2 back-to-back not god-awful games.
Who's he played for now again?
Roma.
Oh, it is Roma, yeah.
Yep. He's had 2 back-to-back non-god-awful games. Let's see. So moving on to the midfield.
What is his L15? 12?
32.
Sure.
I have midfielders. I don't have any midfielders. But I won a beauty of a forward. You're gonna love it. I don't know if you saw it, but I don't know if you remember. Zaniolo Laird. Oh
yeah.
Yep.
So the nice thing about him is that you'll know he'll be eligible for the rest of time.
Yes. Sorer Soul asked, is it better than All-Star and Cap? Not even a question. It's way better. The prize pool is just way better. People are struggling to enter it.
If you have a lineup that fits, it makes absolutely no sense to play it anywhere else.
100% agree. I think it's not even close. This midweek is going to be super easy from a lineup construction standpoint because I don't think there's any discussion with where to prioritize. I think this is where you prioritize if you can.
Fundamentally, the lineup, not that they make themselves, but once you know one spot is taken up by an L40. L15 to 40 player or below. And if it's not a goalkeeper, who your goalie is. So you're really only filling 3 spots per lineup.
Ben asked even in limited, even more so in limited than ever.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. This is a 0-second decision, I think, where it's just it's the best option. Now, if you can't play it because you don't really have the cards. What?
It's a great comp. We love it.
Yeah, if you don't have the card. Yeah, that's what part of the discussion too was I do going back to the beginning of our discussion with things. The overall of this tournament, there's a lot of positives with it. I think the prize pool is very clearly better than All-Star. Not close, right?
For sure.
Which is a good thing. The weekly specials should have very strong prize pool. And I think that this is not even close. So Laird has up the limited situation. So you're getting boxes through a lot of different players. You're getting similar tiers cards on all the spots. The thing is, though, is there's going to be a lot more or less people that can like enter this than can enter All-Star. So if the prize pool is the exact same, but you have like 20% entries, it makes it a much better prize pool.
What's nice about this, which I hadn't noticed, that the jersey percentage is the same regardless of scarcity.
I did notice that. I saw that, which means they're going to give away a lot of jerseys. Sorare Soul asked, but is it worth now buying one of the sub L40 options? Only play if you have one. I mean, I'm not going to answer whether or not you should go buy shitters for this competition.
Not financial advice.
Yeah, I'm like, in the past, I would definitely have gone and bought the players. Nowadays, like, I don't really know if you want to go buy players that.
I think it also matters who your other 4 are.
Correct. Like in theory and hypothetically, like say that all of these guys are going to play, right? Like I have a lineup that could have Marchesson super rare, Bruno Fuchs super rare, and Aranya super rare. If all 3 of them were playing, I'd be like, that's about as good of a lineup as you can definitely get. Now that said, I'm not sure any of the 3 are going to play, so I wouldn't go buy someone. But like, if I did, I would be like, all right, these are very good plays. I want as good of a card possible as I can get in there and get out. But I'm not sure if they're going to play or not. So again, though, that's probably going to be one of my lineups. I'm pretty confident one of my lineups will be like Marchesson, Aranya, and Fuchs, and then we'll see who else goes in there. Like it'll probably be my best lineup. But like, I mean, just looking at my gallery, like I'm looking at people. If I'm removing like the Champs League guys who like obviously they're going to play their best guys. Like Adrisi, I think rotates because they drew the shitbag team from whatever country they're from and they dominated them in game 1 5-0. So he's going to rotate. So Adrisi's not going to play. Chancalay is probably not going to play. So that one, like I don't think Vrioni starts. Then going to like my midfield. I'm just looking at the super level because it's just easier. I have less players, so it's easier to like rotate through and look through. So like Carlos Gil, I don't think plays. Vonnegut, I have no idea what his situation is. Apparently he has laryngitis, so I don't know if he's going to be ready to play. Kang-In Lee, I don't know if he plays. Who would be a decent card if he was playing? Renato Augusto got injured last week. I don't think like Ian Harkes plays, but Ian Harkes would fit the U40, but I think he's kind of like locked into the starting lineup, similar like going
Who's
to
he even play for?
What?
Who's he even play for these days?
The Revs. Ian Harkes on the Revs. Marquinhos might play, might not play. Kim Min-jae, I don't know if he's going to play. So there's just a lot of people. Ooh, actually, Laird, and I know you know this player. There's a player that I think is a pretty decent card. I'm just not sure. For sure he'll play. Javier Cabrera.
No, he's terrible. Don't you
no,
dare
but
think it.
Dude, Laird, they're a massive favorite. They're like a 2.5 goal favorite.
He's
actually playing wing. He's not playing wing back. He's like played wing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like if he was an L40 Laird, I'd be like, damn, this is the play. But yeah,
it's shocking he's not.
No, he's a 45.
That's
he's
absurd.
A 45, but like he's probably plays. I don't know. Like there's just a lot of uncertainty over who's going to play. Like the guys you know are going to play are going to be like the champ guys that are like Jude Bellingham's going to start. But like I'm not sold Jude Bellingham's going to have a big game or anything because they're playing City. But we'll see.
We'll see.
I
think that's all we got. I feel like you and I thought we were not as negative, and everyone in the chat made me feel like we were negative.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I really don't think we were that negative.
Yeah, it's really like
I thought like coming in, I didn't think we were that negative. I don't think we were that negative here. I think we both like the competition. I think that we both think it makes quite a bit of sense. I think that we both think that it's constructed well in theory. Yeah. Like it makes sense. I think we both think the prize pool is great. We just think the time and execution of when it is not the best.
Yeah.
That's what we both think.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you to everybody for coming. Ryan, Walter, yes, that is a BVB kit for Sean. Thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. I'll be back tomorrow, I think with Keith. We'll find out. But yeah, good luck with all of your L15 below 40 scouting, and good luck with the Continental Nights competition.